Taman Park stood before the massive crystal doors of the Galactic Council chamber. His black suit felt simple compared to the glowing walls around him. He had studied this place for years through stolen alien transmissions, but seeing it in person made his breath catch. Sora Kim walked beside him, her tablet glowing with data about the thousands of species inside. She was nervous but tried not to show it. "Remember, they have been watching us for 50 years, she whispered. "They know more about us than we know about them." The doors opened with a sound like singing crystal. Inside, the chamber stretched beyond what seemed possible. Floating platforms held beings made of light. Biopods pulsed with creatures that looked like living plants. Crystal formations housed entities that sparkled like stars. And in the center, on the highest platform, sat Council Prime Velthar. Velthar was ancient. His crystal body had grown for 3,000 years, each layer holding memories of every council meeting. When he spoke, his voice rang like bells. "Human Ambassador Taman Park, you stand before the Galactic Council." Taman walked forward. Every step echoed in the vast space. Around him, thousands of alien eyes watched. Some glowed red with anger. Others pulsed blue with curiosity. A few flickered yellow with what might have been fear. "We have observed your species," Velthar continued. "For 50 years we have watched Earth. We have seen your wars. We have seen your destruction. We have seen your expansion into 3 solar systems without permission." War Master Grex rose from his platform. He was huge, with 6 arms and mandibles that clicked when he spoke. "Humans are violent. They fight each other. They destroy their own planet. They spread like a disease across space." Other voices joined in. The chamber filled with alien languages that Taman's translator could barely handle. He caught words like primitive and dangerous and contained. Sora touched his arm gently. She had been with him since the first alien signal reached Earth. She knew him better than anyone, and she could see he was ready. Taman raised his hand. The chamber fell silent. It was so quiet that the hum of life support systems seemed loud. "Thank you," he said. His voice was calm and clear. "Thank you for finally acknowledging we exist." The silence grew deeper. Sage Nixara, a being of pure energy, flickered with surprise. Trader Morgak, whose species looked like walking crystals, stopped his constant chattering for the first time in decades. Velthar's crystal body dimmed slightly. "You do not deny the accusations?" "How can I deny what is true?" Taman replied. "Yes, humans fight. Yes, we have damaged our planet. Yes, we have expanded into space rapidly, but you have only told part of the story." He walked to the center of the chamber. There, a simple metal chair waited for him. It looked out of place among all the floating platforms and biopods. But Taman sat down without hesitation. "You say you have watched us for 50 years, he continued. "But I wonder if you have truly seen us." War Master Grex's mandibles clicked angrily. "We have seen enough. Your species wages war constantly. When was our last major war?" Taman asked. The question hung in the air. Sora checked her tablet, though she already knew the answer. 73 years ago, she said clearly. "Impossible," growled Grex. "We have recordings of human conflicts." "Small conflicts, yes," Taman admitted. "Border disputes, resource arguments, but not war, not real war. We learned to stop killing each other in large numbers when we discovered we were not alone in the universe." Ancient One Zorak stirred on his platform. He was older than Velthar, older than the Council itself. His voice was like wind through caves. "Interesting. How species increase their violence when they discover others?" Taman nodded. "We nearly did, but we made a choice. We decided that if we were going to meet other intelligences, we wanted to meet them as one species, not as scattered tribes." The chamber's bioluminescent walls began to pulse slowly. This was new. In 3,000 years, the walls had never responded to a speaker before. Sage Nixara floated closer. "You speak of choice as if it is simple. Our records show human nature is violent." "Our nature is protective," Taman corrected. "Yes, we fight. But look at what we fight for. We fight to protect our families. We fight to protect the weak. We fight to protect those who cannot protect themselves." Sora stepped forward and activated a holo display. Images filled the air above the chamber. They showed human rescue operations. People risking their lives to save strangers. Soldiers jumping into danger to protect civilians. Scientists sharing discoveries freely to help everyone. "These are from your own surveillance," Sora said. "You have watched us for 50 years. In that time, How many wars have we fought against other humans? And how many times have we risked everything to save each other? The aliens studied the images in silence. Some seemed confused. War Master Grex's mandibles had stopped clicking. Trader Morgak spoke in his tinkling voice. But your expansion into space. You took 3 systems without asking. Empty systems, Taemin said. We were very careful. We spent 10 years making sure no intelligence lived there. We searched every planet, every moon, every asteroid. We found old ruins, but no living beings. How could you know this? Demanded Velthar. Sora smiled for the first time since entering the chamber. Because we asked ourselves what we would want other species to do. We decided to follow the same rules we hoped you would follow if you came to Earth. The chamber's walls pulsed brighter. Ancient One Zorak leaned forward on his platform. You developed interstellar ethics without contact? We developed them because we had no contact, Taemin replied. We knew someone was out there. We knew someone was watching. So we tried to behave in a way that would make contact possible rather than inevitable. War Master Grex stood up to his full height. This proves nothing. Words are easy. Actions show truth. Taemin nodded. You are right. Actions do show truth, so I have a proposal. Do not judge us on our words. Do not judge us on your 50 years of distant observation. Judge us on what we do here now together. He stood up from his simple chair and looked around the vast chamber. Give us a chance to show you who we really are. Give us a task. Give us a problem. Let us work with you to solve it. Then decide if humans belong in this council. The silence that followed was different from before. It was not the silence of shock or fear. It was the silence of beings thinking, considering, wondering if maybe they had been wrong about these strange creatures called humans. Council Prime Velthar's crystal body rang like a bell. The human requests a trial by action. We do, Taemin said firmly. Ancient One Zorak spoke again, his voice carrying the weight of millennia. In 3,000 years, no species has made such a request. They all asked for mercy or understanding. None asked for the chance to prove themselves through service. The chamber's walls pulsed once more, brighter than ever before, and in that light something like hope began to grow. The trial began at once. Council Prime Velthar's crystal body grew brighter as he called the session to order. If humans wish to be judged by action, they must first answer for their past actions. War Master Grex stepped forward, his 6 arms moving to activate a massive holo display. The air above the chamber filled with images that made Sora's heart sink. Earth's wars appeared in terrible detail. Explosions, burning cities, soldiers fighting in mud and blood. Behold the humans, Grex's voice boomed. A species that has waged war for its entire recorded history. They fight over land, resources, ideas, even skin color. No other species in this council has such a record of violence. The images shifted to show environmental destruction. Poisoned rivers, dead forests, mountains stripped bare, the burning of fossil fuels that choke the sky. They destroy their own world, added Trader Morgak, his crystal body flashing angry red. They take everything and give nothing back. Now they want to do the same to the galaxy. Sage Nixara floated closer, her energy form pulsing with concern. Most troubling is their rapid expansion. In just 75 years since achieving spaceflight, they have built colonies in 3 star systems. This suggests a dangerous hunger for territory. Taemin sat quietly in his simple chair, watching the display. His face showed no anger or shame, just careful attention. Sora wanted to speak to defend their species, but she knew he had a plan. Furthermore, continued Velthar, their technology development follows a concerning pattern. They achieved nuclear weapons before nuclear power. They created artificial intelligence for military purposes first. They built ships for war before they built ships for exploration. The images changed again. This time they showed human space vessels. Most were clearly military designs, bristling with weapons. Even the civilian ships looked like they were built to fight. Ancient One Zorak spoke from his platform. In our observations, humans appear to prepare for conflict even when no conflict exists. This suggests a species naturally inclined to aggression. Finally, Taemin stood up. May I respond to these accusations? You may, said Velthar. Taemin walked to the center of the chamber. Everything you have shown is true. Humans have fought wars for thousands of years. We have damaged our planet. We expanded rapidly into space. We do prepare for conflict. Murmurs ran through the chamber. Many aliens seemed surprised that he admitted everything so easily. But let me ask you something, Taman continued. How many species in this council achieve spaceflight without destroying their homeworld? The chamber fell silent. Sora smiled slightly. This was the question they had prepared for. Sora, please show them the data, Taman said. Sora activated her tablet. New images filled the air. These showed the historical records of dozens of alien species. Each one told a similar story. Civilizations that poisoned their world so badly they had to leave. Species that fought global wars that lasted centuries. Races that nearly went extinct before learning to cooperate. According to your own records, Sora said, 47 species in this council destroyed their original homeworld completely. 63 more damaged their planet so severely they could no longer live there safely. Only 12 species, including yours, Council Prime Velthar, managed to achieve spaceflight while keeping their homeworld habitable. She paused to let this sink in. Humans are the 13th. War Master Grex's mandibles clicked rapidly. This proves nothing. They still wage war. When was the last time your species fought a war, War Master? Taman asked quietly. That is different. Grex snapped. We fight to defend ourselves. From whom? From threats to council security. Taman nodded. So you fight to protect others? That is exactly what humans do. He gestured to Sora, who brought up new images. These showed human conflicts in detail, but with different focus. They showed soldiers protecting civilians. They showed armies stopping genocides. They showed nations working together to fight diseases and natural disasters. Every human war in the last 200 years has been fought for protection, Taman explained. We fight to protect the weak from the strong. We fight to protect freedom from oppression. We fight to protect the innocent from those who would harm them. Sage Nixara flickered with interest. You claim violence in service of protection is different from violence in service of conquest? I claim that the reason for violence matters more than the violence itself, Taman replied. Look at our expansion into space. We could have taken inhabited systems. We found 17 of them, but we chose empty systems instead. We chose the harder path because it was the right path. The chamber's walls pulsed again. That strange response they had never shown before. Ancient One Zorak leaned forward. You speak of choice again, but your military ships suggest you expect conflict. Taman smiled for the first time since entering the chamber. We do expect conflict. We expect to have to protect ourselves and others. But let me show you something your surveillance missed. Sora activated a new display. This one showed human ships in detail, but not their weapons. It showed their medical bays, their research labs, their cargo holds full of supplies and food. Every human military ship is also a hospital ship, Taman explained. Every battleship can become a rescue vessel. Every fighter can carry medical supplies to disaster zones. We build for war because we know conflict exists, but we build for peace because we hope for something better. The aliens studied these images carefully. Many seemed confused by what they saw. This is most unusual, admitted Trader Morgak. Our species builds separate ships for separate purposes. Because you think in terms of us and them, Taman said. Humans think in terms of all of us. Jinho Lee's face appeared in a smaller holo display. Earth's Prime Minister looked tired but determined. Ambassador Park speaks truth, he said in careful standard Galactic. We know we are not perfect. We know we have made mistakes. But we learn from our mistakes. We grow from our failures, and we never stop trying to be better. War Master Grex was quiet for a long moment. Then he asked, If humans are as peaceful as you claim, why do you carry weapons into space? Because space is dangerous, Taman replied simply. Not just from other species, but from pirates, raiders, and those who prey on the weak. We carry weapons for the same reason you do, War Master, to protect those who cannot protect themselves. He paused and looked around the chamber. But here is the difference. When was the last time your species used their weapons to protect someone else's civilians? Grex's mandibles stopped clicking entirely. He had no answer. Sora stepped forward. In the last 50 years, while you have been watching us, humans have prevented 4 genocides, stopped 12 slave trading operations, and protected 7 smaller species from extinction. We did this without being asked, without being paid, and without claiming territory or resources in return. The chamber fell silent again. The walls pulsed brighter, and even Ancient One Zorak seemed surprised. You have records of this? Asked Velthar. We have detailed records, Sora confirmed. We kept them because we hoped someday we would meet other species who cared about the same things we care about. We hope to share our experiences and learn from yours. Taemin walked back to his chair but did not sit down. You have accused us of being violent, destructive, and aggressive. These accusations are partially true, but they are also incomplete. Yes, we can be violent, but only in defense of others. Yes, we can be destructive, but only to things that threaten the innocent. Yes, we can be aggressive, but only against those who refuse to stop hurting people. He finally sat down and looked directly at Council Prime Velthar. Judge us not just on what we have done wrong, but on what we have tried to do right. Judge us not just on our failures, but on what we learned from those failures. Judge us not just on our past, but on what we hope to become. The silence that followed was profound. For the first time in 3,000 years, the Galactic Council was truly listening to someone new. Ancient One Zorak spoke last. The human requests to be judged on potential rather than history. This is unprecedented. Everything about humans is unprecedented, Taemin replied. Perhaps that is exactly what this galaxy needs. Council Prime Velthar's crystal body rang like a great bell. Human Ambassador, you have heard the accusations against your species. The Council will now hear your formal defense. Taemin stood up from his simple chair. Around him, thousands of alien beings waited. Some had already decided humans were too dangerous. Others seemed curious about what he might say. A few looked almost hopeful. Honored council members, Taemin began, I will present our defense in 3 parts. First, I will show you what human aggression really is. Second, I will prove that humans have already demonstrated the values this council claims to protect. Third, I will reveal something that may surprise you about human expansion into space. He gestured to Sora, who activated a new holo display. The images that appeared showed human children playing. They were laughing and running. But when one child fell and was hurt, all the others stopped playing to help. This is how human aggression truly works, Taemin explained. We protect our young together. We protect each other's young. Watch. The images changed to show adults doing the same thing. Strangers jumping into burning buildings to save people they had never met. Soldiers sharing their food with enemy civilians. Doctors working for days without rest to treat anyone who needed help, regardless of which side they fought for. Human aggression is not about destruction, Taemin said. It is about protection. We become aggressive when we see others being hurt. We become violent when peaceful methods fail to stop suffering. War Master Grex shifted on his platform. All species protect their own young. Not just our own, Taemin replied. Watch this, new images filled the air. These showed humans protecting alien animals on Earth. Scientists risking their lives to save species that serve no useful purpose to humanity. People spending enormous resources to protect creatures that most humans would never even see. We protect life that cannot protect itself, Taemin continued. We protect life that gives us nothing in return. We protect life simply because it exists. Hana Choi's face appeared in a smaller display. She was a xenoarchaeologist who had spent decades studying alien ruins in human space. We have found evidence of 6 primitive species in the systems we colonized, she said. Not intelligent yet, but potentially intelligent in the future. The chamber stirred with interest. Trader Morgak's crystal body flashed with surprise. Potentially intelligent? What did you do with them? Hana smiled. We moved them, carefully. We found better worlds for them and relocated entire populations. It took us 15 years and cost more than building our colonies, but we did it. Sage Nixera floated closer to the display. You relocated primitive species, why? Because they had the right to evolve without our interference, Hana replied. Because they deserved a chance to become what they were meant to become. The silence in the chamber was profound. Ancient One Zorak stirred on his platform. No species has ever done this. Most do not even notice primitive life when they colonize. That brings me to my second point, Taemin said. Humans have already been following the unwritten ethical codes of this council. We did this before we knew the council existed. We did this because it felt right. Sora activated new displays. These showed detailed records of human behavior during expansion. Medical supplies freely shared with discovered species. Technology given away without expectation of return. Resources left untouched when they might interfere with developing ecosystems. We studied each world for years before touching it, Sora explained. We asked ourselves, what would we want advanced aliens to do if they found Earth before we developed spaceflight? The chamber's bioluminescent walls pulsed brighter. This response was becoming stronger each time humans spoke. For my third point, Taemin said, I want to introduce someone special. A new face appeared in the holodisplay. The being looked somewhat like a cross between a bear and a lizard. It had large, intelligent eyes and spoke in a pleasant musical voice. I am Krilto of the Gentle River People, the being said. I speak for my entire species. We owe our lives to the humans. War Master Grex's mandibles clicked rapidly. Explain. Krilto's eyes grew sad. Our world was dying. The star was getting too hot. We were not advanced enough to leave. We faced extinction in 50 years. Then the humans found us. What did they do? Asked Velthar. They moved us, Krilto said simply. All of us. Every one of our people, every animal, every plant we needed to survive. They found us a better world and helped us build new homes. They asked for nothing in return. The chamber erupted in surprised voices. Many aliens spoke at once in dozens of languages. This was not what they had expected to hear. Taemin waited for quiet. The Gentle River People are not the only ones. We have helped 6 species so far. We are currently working with 3 more. We do this in secret because we did not want to seem like we were trying to impress you. But why? Asked Sage Nixara. Why spend so much effort on beings who cannot help you? Because they needed help, Taemin replied. Because we could provide it. Because helping others is what intelligence is for. Ancient One Zorak leaned forward on his platform. His ancient voice carried across the chamber. In 3,000 years of council history, I have never heard such reasoning. Most species help others to gain advantage or avoid threats. Humans appear to help others simply because they can. Sora stepped forward. There is more. In each case, we have left monitoring systems to track the species we helped. We want to make sure they continue to thrive. We want to protect them from other threats that might arise. You spy on them? Demanded War Master Grex. We guard them, Taemin corrected. Just as we hope someone would guard humanity if we needed help. Krilto's voice came through the display again. The humans did not just save us and leave. They taught us. They shared knowledge of medicine, agriculture, engineering. But they were careful not to give us too much too fast. They helped us develop at our own pace. Trader Morgak had been quiet for a long time. Now he spoke, his voice tinkling with confusion. This makes no economic sense. You spent resources with no return. You could have used those species as workers or soldiers. We could have, Taemin agreed. But then we would have been no different from any other conquering species. We would have been the kind of species that you would be right to fear and contain. The chamber's walls pulsed again, brighter than ever. Ancient One Zorak spoke in a voice filled with wonder. The humans have naturally developed the principle of protected growth. It took our species 12,000 years to learn this wisdom. It took the Velthari 8,000 years. The humans developed it in less than 200 years. What is the principle of protected growth? Asked Taemin. Velthar answered, his crystal voice ringing with something like awe. It is the highest ethical achievement in galactic civilization. It means helping others grow while protecting their right to choose their own path. It means giving aid without demanding control. It means accepting the cost of doing right simply because it is right. Sage Nixara's energy form flickered rapidly. We thought humans might be too primitive for council membership. Instead, they may be more ethically advanced than species who have been members for millennia. Taemin looked around the chamber. We do not claim to be better than you. We have made many mistakes. We have much to learn, but we hope we can learn together. We hope we can work together to protect and guide those who need our help. He paused and then spoke more quietly. We know that some of you fear us because we are different. But difference can be strength. We offer you our protection, our friendship, and our commitment to the same values you have worked so hard to achieve. War Master Grex was silent for a long moment. Then slowly he began to remove his ceremonial warhelm. This was a gesture no council member had ever seen him make. I have fought for 300 years, Grex said. I have protected this council from many threats, but I have never seen a species offer protection to others without being asked. I have never seen a species give aid without demanding payment. His helm came off completely, revealing a face that was surprisingly gentle beneath the fierce mandibles. Perhaps it is time for an old warrior to learn new ways of thinking about strength. The chamber fell silent once more. But this time the silence felt different. It felt like the moment before something wonderful begins. Ancient One Zorak spoke one final time. The human defense is complete, but I believe the humans have done more than defend themselves. They have challenged us to examine what we truly value and why. The walls of the chamber pulsed with warm golden light, and in that light, the future began to look very different indeed. The chamber had barely finished absorbing Taemin's defense when alarms began to sound. Red lights flashed along the crystal walls and emergency signals filled the air. Council Prime Velthar's form brightened to maximum intensity. Emergency session protocol activated, Velthar announced. We have a crisis situation in Sector 7 Gamma. Sora's tablet lit up with incoming data. Her face went pale as she read. It's a plague ship, she whispered to Taemin. Refugees from the Cathara war zone. Ancient One Zorak's voice carried across the chamber. The timing is inconvenient. We were discussing human membership when this emergency arose. Perhaps fate has given us the perfect test. War Master Grex activated a tactical display that filled the air above them. It showed a large, damaged ship limping toward Council space. The vessel looked like it had been through hell, hull breaches, failing engines, and life support systems on the edge of collapse. The ship carries approximately 50,000 refugees from the Cathara system, Grex reported. They are fleeing the civil war between the northern and southern Cathara factions. However, our sensors detect biological contamination aboard the vessel. Sage Nixara floated closer to examine the data. The contamination appears to be the Red Death, a plague that attacks both biological and technological systems. It is extremely dangerous and spreads rapidly through air, water, and electronic networks. Trader Morgak's crystal body flashed with alarm. Red Death killed billions on Vortax Prime. It cannot be allowed into Council space. Taemin studied the tactical display carefully. The ship was still 6 hours away from Council territory, but it was clearly in distress. Even from this distance, he could see that parts of it were failing. What are the standard protocols for this situation? He asked. Velthar's tone became formal and cold. Protocol 7, Quarantine and Elimination. The ship must be destroyed before it enters Council space. The plague cannot be allowed to spread. 50,000 people, Sora said quietly. 50,000 refugees who did nothing wrong except try to escape a war. Protocol 7 has saved billions of lives over the centuries, War Master Grex stated firmly. It is harsh but necessary. Taemin stood up from his chair. Are there no other options? 2 alternatives exist, admitted Sage Nixara. Protocol 8, Permanent Quarantine. We could contain the ship in a force field and keep it isolated forever. The refugees would live but never be free. And the third option? Taemin asked. Ancient One Zorak answered. Protocol 9, Rescue Attempt. Board the ship, treat the plague, and save the refugees. However, this has never been successful. The Red Death always spreads to rescue teams. It is considered impossible. The chamber fell silent as everyone absorbed this information. 3 choices, all of them terrible. Death, imprisonment, or almost certain failure. I propose a 4th option, Taemin said calmly. Every being in the chamber turned to look at him. War Master Grex's mandibles clicked with what might have been disbelief. There is no 4th option, Grex said. 3,000 years of experience have proven these are the only possibilities. What if we combine them? Taemin asked. What if we attempt a rescue, but do it in a way that protects everyone involved? Sora was already working on her tablet, pulling up human medical data. The Red Death is similar to several plagues we've dealt with on Earth, she said. Our medical teams have experience with contained biological hazards. Sage Nixara's energy form flickered with interest. Explain your proposal. Taemin activated his own display. We use human ships and human medical teams for the initial boarding. Humans have natural resistance to many psychological effects of the Red Death. Our neural patterns are different from most species. That is not enough, War Master Grex protested. The plague will still spread. Not if we do it right, Taemin continued. We board with full containment protocols. We treat the plague on the ship itself, not by bringing refugees here. We establish a treatment zone in space away from all inhabited systems. He looked around the chamber, but we don't do this alone. We ask for volunteers from all Council species. Each species contributes what they do best. Together, we might succeed where any one species would fail. The chamber erupted in discussion. Aliens spoke rapidly in dozens of languages. Some seemed excited by the possibility. Others appeared horrified at the risk. Captain Mira Keth's face appeared in a communication window. She was the leader of the refugee ship, a tall alien with blue skin and silver eyes that showed deep exhaustion. Council members, she said, her voice weak. I have been listening to your discussion. My people are dying. The plague grows stronger every hour. If you have any chance to save us, please try. We have children aboard. They have done nothing to deserve this fate. Taemin looked directly at the display. Captain Keith, we are going to try. Hold on. He turned back to the council. Who will help us? For a moment, no one spoke. Then War Master Grek stood up. My people have the best containment technology. We will provide isolation fields and protective equipment. Sage Nixara brightened. My species can create telepathic barriers to prevent psychological contamination. We will help. One by one, other species began to volunteer. The crystal beings offered their knowledge of biological systems. The plant-like entities provided natural medicines. Even Trader Morgak offered his fastest ships to carry supplies. Yongsu Nam appeared in a communication window. He was already suiting up in medical gear aboard the human rescue fleet. We're ready, Ambassador. 15 human medical teams, full containment protocols, everything we need. Admiral Sujin Yang's voice came through the speakers. Human Fleet Command confirms. All ships prepared for rescue operation. We're moving to intercept the refugee vessel now. The next 6 hours were the longest in Galactic Council history. The chamber's main display showed the rescue operation in real time. Human ships surrounded the plague vessel like protective guardians. Aliens watched in amazement as human medical teams boarded the infected ship without hesitation. They're going directly into the most contaminated sections, War Master Grex observed. That should be impossible. Yongsu's voice came through the comm system. Red Death confirmed, but it's not as bad as we feared. The plague is old, it's been burning itself out. We can treat this. Hour by hour, the human teams worked through the ship. They treated the sick, repaired life support systems, and cleaned contaminated areas. Other council species provided support from safe distances, contributing expertise and supplies. Sora monitored the operation from the council chamber. No signs of plague spread to human teams, she reported. Containment holding on all levels. The chamber watched in growing amazement as the impossible became reality. Human teams saved refugee after refugee. Alien children who had been dying began to recover. Adults who had given up hope started to smile again. This is unprecedented, Ancient One Zorak said quietly. No species has ever successfully rescued plague victims before. They're not just rescuing them, Sage Nixara observed. They're treating aliens they've never met before, using their own resources, risking their own lives. Finally, after 8 hours of work, Yongsu's voice came through with the words everyone had been hoping to hear. All refugees stable, plague contained and treated, ready for final decontamination. Captain Keth appeared on screen again, but this time she was smiling. Tears ran down her blue cheeks. You saved us. You actually saved us. 50,000 lives that everyone said were lost. The chamber erupted in cheers. Aliens who had spent millennia believing that some problems had no solutions watched as humans proved them wrong. War Master Grek slowly walked to the center of the chamber. His steps echoed in the sudden quiet. I have been a warrior for 300 years, he said. I have seen countless battles. I have made many hard decisions. He paused and looked directly at Taemin. But I have never seen anyone fight death itself and win. I have never seen anyone risk everything to save strangers. The old warrior's voice grew softer. Today, humans have shown me that there is a kind of strength I never understood. The strength to save rather than destroy. The strength to hope when others despair. He slowly began to remove pieces of his battle armor. I have spent my life learning how to fight. Perhaps it is time to learn how to heal. The chamber's walls pulsed with that strange golden light, brighter than ever before. And in that light, something fundamental changed in the relationship between humans and the galaxy. Ancient One Zorak spoke last. The test is complete. The humans have not just proven their worth, they have taught us what worth truly means. The final session began at dawn on Nexus Prime. The chamber's walls glowed with soft morning light as representatives from across the galaxy took their positions. Taemin sat in his simple metal chair, calm despite knowing that the next few hours would determine humanity's future. Council Prime Velthar rose to his full height. We gather to cast the final vote on human membership in the Galactic Council. Each species will state their position and cast their vote. The decision requires a simple majority of the 1,670 member species. Sora checked her tablet nervously. They needed 836 votes to win. It would be close. We will begin with the founding members, Velthar announced. Ancient One Zorak spoke first. His voice carried the weight of thousands of years. The Eternal Watchers have observed the rise and fall of countless civilizations. We have seen species achieve great technological power. We have seen species develop vast intelligence, but we have rarely seen a species develop wisdom. He paused, looking directly at Timon. Humans possess something unique. They have learned to see strength in protection rather than domination. They have learned to find purpose in service rather than conquest. The Eternal Watchers vote yes. A cheer went up from the human delegation monitoring the session from Earth. 1 vote down, 8:35 to go. Warmaster Grex stepped forward next. His armor was different now, still protective but decorated with symbols of peace instead of war. The militant coalition has always valued strength above all else. For centuries, we believed strength meant the ability to destroy enemies. He looked around the chamber. Humans have shown us a different kind of strength. The strength to save lives even when it costs your own. The strength to help others even when they cannot help you. The militant coalition votes yes. The early votes continued to favor humanity, but Taman knew the easy ones would come first. The real test would be with the species that feared change or saw humans as a threat. Sage Nyxara floated forward when her turn came. The Energy Collective has always sought knowledge and understanding. We have watched humans carefully and we are concerned. Sora's heart sank. This was what they had feared. We are concerned, Nyxara continued, that humans may be too advanced for us. Their ethical development has progressed faster than any species in galactic history. They have achieved in centuries what took us millennia. The Energy Collective votes yes, but we ask that humans be patient with those of us who are still learning. Relief flooded through the human delegation, but the votes were coming faster now and they were getting more mixed. The Silicon traders voted no. Humans give away too much for free. They will destabilize galactic economics. The hive minds voted yes. Humans protect individual choice while still working together. This is wisdom. The machine intelligences voted no. Humans are too unpredictable. Their emotions make them unreliable partners. The crystal singers voted yes. Humans create beautiful music from harmony and discord together. As the hours passed, the votes stayed close. Zora kept track on her tablet. 423 yes, 401 no, with hundreds still to vote. Trader Morgak's species was called. He had been quiet through most of the session, his crystal body dim with thought. Now he flashed bright colors as he spoke. The Commerce Guild has always believed in profit and efficiency. Humans are terrible at both. They spend resources helping others. They give away valuable technology. They make choices based on feelings instead of logic. He paused and his colors shifted to warmer tones. But perhaps profit is not everything. Perhaps efficiency is not the highest goal. The Commerce Guild votes yes because humans have taught us that some things are worth more than money. The vote count continued to swing back and forth. Species that had seemed certain to support humans voted no because they feared change. Others that had seemed hostile voted yes because they had been moved by human actions. Finally, only one vote remained. The count stood at 835 yes and 834 no. Everything depended on the neutral observers, a small species that rarely participated in council affairs. Representative Kethno of the neutral observers was tiny compared to most council members. She spoke in a whisper that the translation systems had to amplify. The neutral observers have watched this process with great interest. We have seen many species join the council over the centuries. Most come seeking power or protection or profit. She looked at Taemin with large, gentle eyes. Humans come seeking responsibility. They ask not what the galaxy can give them, but what they can give the galaxy. The neutral observers vote yes. The chamber erupted. Cheers and groans filled the air as the final tally appeared on the main display. 836 yes, 834 no. Humans had won by a single vote, but Ancient One Zorak raised his hand for silence. The vote is complete, but there is one more matter to address. The council must decide what type of membership to offer humanity. Taemin looked confused. What do you mean? Velthar's crystal body rang like a bell. There are different levels of council membership. Most species receive standard membership. 1 vote, access to trade, protection under council law. However, continued Zorak, there is another option. Guardian membership. Only 12 species in galactic history have been offered this honor. Sora leaned forward. What does Guardian membership mean? Guardian species help protect and guide other species, Velthar explained. They have additional responsibilities and additional authority. They are called upon to mediate disputes, assist with crises, and help younger species develop. War Master Grex stepped forward. Guardian species are the species others look to for leadership when times are difficult. They are the species that others trust to do what is right even when it is costly. Sage Nixara's energy form brightened. Based on what we have observed, humans may be natural guardians. The question is, are they ready for such responsibility? Ancient One Zorak looked directly at Taimin. Guardian membership means you will be called upon to help solve problems across the galaxy. You will be asked to risk human lives to protect other species. You will be expected to give aid without demanding payment. Are humans prepared for this burden? Taimin stood up slowly. Around him, the chamber had fallen completely silent. This was not what they had expected. They had hoped for simple membership, a place at the table. Instead, they were being offered a position of leadership and responsibility. May I consult with my government? Taimin asked. Of course, said Velthar. Jinho Li appeared in the communication window, along with other human leaders from around Earth. They spoke quietly for several minutes while the galaxy waited. Finally, Taimin turned back to the council. We accept Guardian membership, but with conditions. Name them, said Zorak. First, we are not ready to lead. We are ready to serve alongside the existing Guardians and learn from them. Second, we will not make decisions for other species. We will offer help, but others must choose whether to accept it. Third, we reserve the right to ask for help when we need it. Guardians should not have to carry their burdens alone. The chamber was quiet for a long moment. Then Ancient One Zorak began to laugh. It was a sound like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Perfect, he said. Absolutely perfect. A species that accepts authority but not domination. A species that accepts responsibility but not isolation. The humans understand what it means to be a guardian better than species who have held the title for millennia. Belthar's crystal body glowed brighter than ever before. The Galactic Council recognizes humanity as the 13th guardian species. Ambassador Taimin Park, please approach for the oath of service. Taimin walked to the center of the chamber. In his hands, he held both the human constitution and the Galactic Codex. Around him, representatives from across the galaxy stood up, a gesture of respect that had never been given to a new member before. Do you swear to protect the innocent? Felthar asked. We swear. Do you swear to aid those in need? We swear. Do you swear to seek justice over vengeance, peace over conquest, service over power? We swear. The chamber's walls pulsed with brilliant golden light. For the first time in council history, the building itself seemed to be celebrating. Then welcome, guardians of humanity, to the Galactic Council. As the ceremony ended and the various species began to file out, War Master Grex approached Taimin. The old warrior moved slowly, still adjusting to his new, lighter armor. Guardian Park, he said formally. I have a request. What can we do for you, Guardian Grex? The warrior's mandibles clicked, and what Taimin had learned was actually a smile. Teach me. Teach my people. We have spent so long learning how to fight that we have forgotten how to heal. Will you help us remember? Taimin extended his hand in the human gesture of friendship. After a moment's hesitation, Grex reached out with one of his 6 arms and took it. It would be our honor, Taimin said. As they shook hands, Sora watched through the great windows of the chamber. Outside, human ships were joining the Eternal Council patrol for the first time. Their simple metal hulls gleamed alongside bioships and crystal vessels, adding their own unique beauty to the fleet. The silence is gone, she said quietly. Taimin nodded, still holding Grex's hand. Now the real work begins. And in that moment, with the galaxy's most ancient light shining down on them, the future looked brighter than ever before.